Well, greetings everybody, and welcome back to the Bond Geek channel with me, your host, the name's Stevens, Henry Stevens. Everybody, how'd you do? I hope you're enjoying a good Bond film, a good Bond book, good Bond video game, a good James Bond, whatever makes you part of this glorious fandom, everybody, that is the James Bond community. Welcome back to the channel. And everybody, now that Daniel Craig has decided to step down from the role as James Bond, you know that means in Bond 26, not only are we going to get a new actor, but a whole new Bond introduction scene. Now, these have only happened 6 times, and I think they are some of the most important moments in the Bond franchise. These are the moments that where to fans, big fans like us and the general audience, they show you this is the new Bond, this is his style, this is the direction they're going to take the franchise in with this person. It really is such an important moment in not only the films itself and the franchise going forward, but it's also one of the most, I think, important moments in their tenure. It's our first introduction to a new James Bond. It sets up so much for us, and it helps us really sort of connect and sort of really want to go with the new James Bond. So that being said, as this is my first top 10 video on this channel, I decided I think the best place to start here would be to look at the top 6 James Bond introductions in the franchise, everybody. Now, I want to say before we start, these are all my opinions. I've rewatched all scenes and I'm basing this on my own personal feelings about them, how well I think they set up and introduce the actors themselves. Are they good scenes at all? So without further ado, everybody, let's get started. Right off the bat for me, it is Roger Moore's introduction as James Bond at number 6. Why does this one at the bottom so much? Well, to be honest, I think out of all the scenes that we're talking about on this list here, it is probably one of the most lackluster and, I'm going to say it actually here, a bit of a boring scene. Now, I do think that is partly to blame because his predecessor, George Lazenby's scene was so bombastic and a bit over the top, and we will get to that everybody down the list. I feel they really tried to go for something more minimalistic and just like, yeah, no fuss, no celebration, we have a new actor, just get on with it. The other thing that also this scene does differently to every other scene as well, instead of having some sort of action sequence to really show off how cool the new Bond is, this one goes for more of a French farce. The scene is really about Bond who slept with a Italian secret agent and then hiding her away from and Moneypenny, really. It is a bit of a French farce side of things. It's a nice scene, and I will give this scene credit. It does introduce the Roger Moore James Bond, I think, really well, that he's more of a lover, not a fighter. It really does introduce that, but overall for me, just this one just really doesn't do that much for me, or I think is a very pleasing introduction. George Lazenby's introduction in Our Majesty Service is a real mixed bag for me. On one hand, following the book really well and showing Bond following Tracy and saving her from the water, it's really good, but I think by the end of the sequence it has completely fallen apart and just tried to be such a sort of over the topness, it just doesn't quite work. Now, the intro of this sequence is brilliant with Bond driving. You see him just in shadow, little bits of him, just little bits. It's really cool. And then, when he goes to save Tracy, it's really cool. And the action sequence is okay. It's a bit clunky. I think I'm more interested in how it's shot and how it's lit, which is incredible, by the way. But the big sort of emphasis, the big star of the moment, George Lazenby, is just not working in this scene. I think his acting skills are a lot better later down the line in the film, if I'm honest. And then, as I said, it started off really cool with some of this stuff. But then when they decided to do the fourth wall breaking joke, it just completely fell apart. And it sort of just ruins the whole mise-en-scène of the entire thing. The only reason I have this one, I suppose, above Roger Moore's introduction is at least I got that amazing first part of his introduction. I'm going to say it to everybody right off that, Timothy Dalton's opening in The Living Daylights is, I think, absolutely incredible, and it does leave you desperately wanting to see more. It is a great shot. He has this amazing hero shot. I'm sure you all know the one when the other double agent falls to his death and just turns around and has this really cool, simple shot like, this is Bond, that he's here, let's go. It's absolutely brilliant. However, that all being said, I really don't think it actually gives a good representation overall of the style and tone of direction that the Bond series wants to go with Timothy Dalton. One of the people's complaints about The Living Daylights, it feels a bit like a Roger Moore story that's sort of been slightly tailored to suit Dalton. And to a point, there is sort of bits in it, and I think this pre-title sequence is, I can see this pre-title sequence in some sense being a sort of Roger Moore opening one, but I think it misses the grit, and I think it misses the real sort of hardcore tension that Timothy Dalton did bring to the role, everybody. So even though it really left me wanting to see more of him, I gotta be honest, I just wish he had something a bit more that was in line with his tone and direction that he wanted to take the franchise in. Pierce Brosnan's introduction in Goldeneye is without doubt an incredible introduction. It has everything, everybody. It was my first introduction to Pierce Brosnan. It was my first introduction to the world of James Bond. So on that level, I would say it absolutely 100% works here, everybody. It's got a bit of stealth, some amazing sequences like with the plane at the end of it, or the dam at the beginning. You know, it's got some great banter between Bond and 006. The bad guy Rumoff is alright. It's really, really good. It's got a lot of stuff in, everybody, and it's a great introduction. However, upon reflection, I can't help but feel maybe a bit like George Lazenby's. It is slightly overstuffed. Now, don't get me wrong, unlike the George Lazenby version, which I feel is overstuffed just because it's falling a bit weak, this one is carrying up. But I think, honestly, there are two introductions that I think are slightly better, believe it or not, than Pierce Brosnan's. Daniel Craig's introduction to Casino Royale is one of the most striking and effective resets in the whole of the Bond franchise, everybody. If you were to watch Die Another Day, Brosnan's last film, go straight into Casino Royale, the tonal shift is absolutely just incredible and just so jarring, it's unbelievable. And I think, honestly, it is one of the most interesting and unique introductions to any James Bond. The Casino Royale introduction being in black and white, giving it a sort of Bond right at the beginning, a very noir thriller vibe, really sets the tone and style, I think, the direction that Daniel Craig wanted to take the Bond series and they want to take the franchise in. It perfectly shows you this is the sort of direction that we're going to go in from now on, everybody. You could say it's very subtle. All it is just a guy talking to another guy in an office and a quick fight scene in a bathroom. But it works, everybody. It works so well. The dialogue is so crisp, and it's a scene I just love to watch again and again and again, everybody. I honestly, Daniel Craig's introduction is just one of those all-time, I think, great moments in the James Bond franchise, without a shadow of a doubt. And it makes it really hurts. And at the end, going into the Gunbarell then title sequence, it was just a lovely cherry on the top, I think, that really sums it up. But for all I love Daniel Craig and Brosnan's and Dalton's, you know, heck, so many of them, there's one I still think is the #1 head chief when it comes to Bond introductions. Yeah, I know it's a cop-out, but saying that Sean Connery, the original James Bond introduction, is the best. But to be honest, I really think it is. I think, you know, part of the opening of the film is really setting up the bad guy of Dr. No, really getting sort of a sense of vibes and chills. And then when we get to introducing Connery, you know, this sequence at the poker table is just film, you know, I know people study this in film lessons as introductions and great moments. When you only see Bond little bits, you know, like from the back of his hand, or you see his collar, or, you know, you see his cigarette case, everybody. It's these little things that's telling you so much about the character that, you know, you begin to know the character even before you even properly meet him. You really do, everybody. I mean, the fact of the matter is you can watch this whole sequence and learn the character of James Bond before you really get actually introduced to him. And then, of course, we get the famous line, first said for the first time, because Trench message, my name is Trench Silvertrench, he responded the same way, Bond, James Bond. And that immortal line has been born here as well, everybody. Sean Connery's introduction, I think, is, again, it just double ticks all the things I have for a Bond introduction, everybody. It's, you know, it's subtle, but it's also it's really cool. It's not overblown. It's just there, and Sean Connery's just there, everybody, and it's just such an amazing sequence to watch, everybody. So, everybody, that is my list for the best Bond intros in the franchise. But I want to know, everybody, what are your thoughts on this list? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? I want to know. Comment down below and tell me what you think about that. Don't forget as well, everybody, to like and comment, subscribe, so you can get future videos of reviews, editorials, more top 10 videos, what if videos, trailer reactions, and more stuff on the Bond channel coming your way, everybody. So, as always, everybody, I am Henry Stevens, I'm the Bond Geek. Goodbye.